I'm Kenny Lowry, and today we're going to talk a little bit about repairing a jar, or if you get a small hole in your jar, if it's a air bubble in your jar, got a little seeping water coming out, those kinds of things. And about half of all jars are going to lose some water overnight because they're going to have little seep holes in them. They're going to have little areas where you'll lose water. Some jars will be 100% watertight, but I'd say at least half aren't. So what to do if you want to fix it. Now, if it's just a little small and it's dropping 3 to 4 inches overnight, we don't do anything to them. That's not a big deal. Losing that much water is normal. But if you don't want to lose that, if you want to be able to repair something that's losing a little more, I'll show you exactly what we do here. Now, if it's a big gap, a big hole, or a crack or something like that, you can use Bondo. It's the same material you use to fix dents in cars. So you mix it up, get a paintbrush, just an old throwaway brush. Cut the bristles off so they'll be short, so it'll be nice and stiff. You'll be able to push in with it. And if you're just fixing a little small hole or a little bitty small crack, something like that. And when I say crack, I'm talking about like kiln cracks, like a crack that happens in the kiln. It's during the firing process that clay will shrink and it'll cause it to crack a little bit. That's normal in jars. You'll see it all the time. And sometimes they'll seep water out of those. So what we do. Take that stiff bristle brush. You can use an old, here there's a PVC pipe, an old broom handle, anything, duct tape it to it so that you can reach down into wherever you need to go on the jar, and put a big bead of silicone in it. Now we use GE Silicone 2. It's readily available at just about any hardware store. We think this is the best silicone on the market, so that's what we use. Just put a big old bead on that and then stick it down in there and kind of brush it into the place where it needs to go. It's at the bottom of the jar, you have a longer handle, you go down and do the same thing. If you're using the Bondo, you're doing the same thing. You're going to put a gob on there, or at least whatever you think you're going to need to do it, put it on there. That's pretty much it. That'll pretty much fix just about any hole there is, any leak that there might be. You could fix just about anything with that, so it's really simple to do, pretty easy to do. Make sure the jar is dry first. You want it to be completely dry. You want to give it time to set up, I'd say at least 24 hours. So do that, and right now I'll grab the camera and show you up close what to kind of look for when you're looking at a jar so you'll be able to see it. Now this jar has not been on display, so it's a new jar. If it had been on display and there were any seep holes in it, it would show up because the mineral deposits in the clay, you'll see, like in our case we have calcium, you would see white streaks coming down out of a place like that. Now that may or may not leak from there, you don't know. But you can see that's a little flaw, and all these jars are going to have little flaws. It's normal. Right here's another little one. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. But all those little holes might seep water. Right there's another one. And they might not. You really don't know until you put water in them. Right there's a little kiln crack in that one. See that little kiln crack? Hope you can see it. That happens in the kiln. The way you know it happens in the kiln is the glaze is being melted and it kind of rolls in there. You can kind of see where the glaze rolls in there. So those are all things that are normal, and it's an easy fix if you need to fix it. If you're losing a couple of inches a day, I wouldn't worry about that overnight. As always, if you have any questions, you can reach me at 540-948-2239 or email me, Kenny@southerngraceva.com.